beautiful sniffers of the world. How are you all? I hope you are having a beautiful holiday season. It has been a rough year, but we're coming to the end of it. And today I'm doing the second video of my video series called Elements of Perfume. I'm going to be diving into, I'm sure you can maybe guess right now from my shirt color, plants of love and glamour and beauty. The beautiful rose. Where do I even start with rose? It's everywhere. It's in Greek mythology, in all the religious symbolism, it's everywhere around the whole world. It's the epitome, it's the queen of flowers. It has a long history. We have proof of usage of rose water dating back to 2000 BC actually. Compared to the other flowers, I would say rose has the most variety of usages. You gift it for expression of love or something else. You use the petals to put on the bed. Very cheesy. People used it and still use it, especially in Turkey, for its aroma. We use it here as a ingredient for some desserts and everything, like rose flavored Turkish delight. People have been using rose water for cosmetic purposes too. For example, I have this product in my hand. It's from Rose Sense and it's literally just rose water. I'm reading the ingredients and it just says 100% pure rose water. And it says on the bottle here, it says secrets of beautiful skin. So this is just used as a tonic and I used it too. It is very powerful in its smell and it's something. The fragrance sticks to your face and you just smell it in your bed, on your pillow. It is something. It's a choice. It was so popular that it was used as a gesture when the guests would come in. The host would pour rose water into their guest's hand. And they actually had a certain item called gülabdan, gül meaning rose in Turkish, a specific item to hold this rose water. But we don't really have those items anymore in our modern lives. It's sad, I would say. I'm going to have a gülabdan in my house in the future. We see it in the art too. There's this beautiful artist called Levni and he does these miniatures. In these miniatures you see certain people holding roses and some other plants on their hands and it's so beautiful. I wanted to see it but I couldn't get to see it. It's not on display right now. So we should come back to the rose in perfumery specifically. What rose species are we actually using in perfumery? There are actually two breeds that are mainly heavily, 95% used in perfumery right now. And one of them is Rosa Damascena, the damask rose. And Rosa Damascena has been the rose that was sought after in perfumery for more than 100 years now. It was first cultivated in Turkey, dating back 1900s. And this species of rose was bred to have the highest yield of fragrance and also the most pleasant odor. This rose is pink, of course, and it has many layers of petals. Besides the city of Isparta, Turkey, it is also cultivated in Egypt, Bulgaria, which is also another very good importer today, Iran, India, Morocco, China, Moldova, and Russia. The other rose species that is used in perfumery is Rosa centifolia, aka Rose de May, the May rose. I would say it's the second to Rosa Damascena in popularity for perfumery. However, it is still widely used in perfumery today. Rosa centifolia is also pink. I think I wouldn't be able to differentiate Rosa Damascena from Rosa centifolia. Both are very pretty and Rosa centifolia is cultivated in Morocco, Egypt, Tunisia, and most importantly, I think, the city of Grasse in France. At the end of our studies in ISIPCA, we had a class trip to Grasse in France and we visited this Rose de May farm. Farms were harvesting their rose for Dior specifically. It was very interesting to see. And here is a picture of me with my classmate, my Greek goddess Mariana, and we took this Polaroid in Grasse too. And if you're watching this, I miss you, girl. In the month of May, the flower starts blossoming and the harvest season starts, and it might go until the end of June. Flower starts to be picked up very early in the morning, going until the noon. And this is like the stem. This is the stem of the flower, and you have the petal here on top, and you hold your thumb in the center of the rose flower and you put these two fingers underneath the rose, and you just click, rip the flower part apart from the stem. You have the most fragrant period of the flower when it's fully blossomed. However, you want to harvest the flower when it's not fully blossomed, because you still want to keep those fragrant materials inside the flower so you can take it to the distillation, so you can have it at the end product. You put the picked flowers in cloth sacks, not in plastic, that's not okay. And you take the sacks immediately to the nearest distillery. And while the roses are inside those sacks, they start fermenting, and the proportions of molecules, the fragrant molecules, actually change. And this will also change the proportions of molecules you have in the oil at the end. This was somehow desired before, but right now I don't think this is practiced. This is not appreciated. So when the roses come to the distillery, there are two methods that you can extract a product from the roses. And I talked maybe like 3 times already in my channel about these processes, so I'm going to be fast. You do steam distillation to yield a rose oil. However, this process is not very easy. First, you put the rose petals and also the water, and you let the steam go through, etc, 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 and you obtain your first oil, first degree oil. And at the end of this first distillation, you will have your first degree oil and also a rose water, like this. After, the rose water will obviously have also a lot of fragrant molecules that you might actually want it in the oil. So you let this rose water go through a second distillation, and at the end you will have the second oil, and then you can combine these two oils and you will have a fuller, nicer oil. And sadly, the yield of this process is 0.02 to 0.05%. So that means from 1 ton of rose petals, you will obtain 0.2 to 0.5 kilogram of rose oil. Yikes. And this low yield results in Rosa Damascena oil being like 5,000 to 7,000 euros per kilogram. And this oil will contain maybe like 300 molecules inside it. It's crazy. And you will have very small quantities, what we call rose ketones. And these molecules, even though they're small in quantity, they give a big impression. The other method that we can use is the solvent extraction. And the solvent we use is hexane. And at the end of the solvent extraction, you will have a concrete. And with this concrete, you will do a alcohol extraction, and then you get rid of the waxes, and then you will have your Rose Absolute. And Rose Absolute has a better yield, it's 0.25%, and that means from a ton of rose petals you will have 2.5 kilogram of Rose Absolute. And the price of Rose Absolute will be like 3,000 to 5,000 euros per kilogram. So when it comes to the difference between the rose oil and the Rose Absolute, there is a big change in their olfactive profile. They smell different. And the biggest contributor to this fact should be the amount of PEA molecule that they have inside. PEA is a phenylethyl alcohol. PEA is very high in the Rose Absolute, meanwhile it's very low in the rose oil. And you don't really have those precious rose ketones in the Rose Absolute. So I would say let's smell them. Here I have Turkish rose oil, and as you can see it's transparent. And on the other hand I have Rose de May Absolute from Grasse, and as you can see it's yellow. So let's smell and compare, right? So the rose oil. Beautiful. So I would say everyone can tell what rose is like. You have this rose character, what we know, what we define as rose. First of all, you can describe it as waxy and oily. It's like you smell this sticky effect. You also smell some spices, I would say like pepper and obviously clove. That gives this like pungent effect to this oil. You can also smell this fruity effect too. It gives like this red berries effect, like raspberry. A very important effect of this rose oil should be the animalic notes that it has. It can maybe somehow irritate you, this oil, when you smell it, and I think that comes from the animalic effect it has. So if you would use this in large amounts, it's it's going to be hard to cover that effect. So let's smell Rosa Centifolia Absolute, and we can do a comparison. Okay, it's very different, obviously. With the Rose Absolute, Rosa Centifolia Absolute, what I would say is that the waxy and dusty part is less strong, and what you get instead is this greenness, it's this fruity aspect. And this fruit is again very red berries, maybe raspberry, but also it reminds me of these dry fruits. They kind of have that effect. Yeah, in the rose oil you have this dusty, waxy and malic, more floral aspect actually. But in the Rose Absolute is more fruity and green. In the Rose Absolute I smell this honey. And I don't know why, but it reminds me of red wine or like a winery. I think you have this woody effect. So lastly, let's come to the fragrances. Some of the fragrances that I can give example of. So when I think about rose in fragrances, what pops in my head is Trésor by Lancôme and Paris by Yves Saint Laurent. The two, I think, epitome of rose fragrances for me. And actually they were created by the same perfumer. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name, but the great perfumer of modern perfumery, Sophia Grossman. Paris by Yves Saint Laurent is very serene, it's very watery, it's so beautiful. I miss smelling that perfume. On the other hand, with Trésor, I have this almost finished bottle of Trésor. Oh my god. Yeah, this fragrance it smells very like soapy. It has this very beautiful clean effect, and I think that comes from rose plus the violets in it. It's like it has iron-ons with salicylates that creates this very clean, maybe baby powder effect. It's like the cosmetics effect, like a lipstick effect. That should be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and learned a bit more about perfumery. And I'm excited to make more videos in 2021. And I wish you a very nice year. Let's do better. Let's hope the earth, nature, the mother nature will do better in the next year. And also we can do a lot better for the mother nature. So we can keep having these beautiful roses and we can keep smelling them. Görüşmek üzere.